I want to start with our friends from the Mooresville Graded School District. Come on up here. I had the chance this summer to go to their annual conference, and in case they don't talk enough about it, we are going to focus on the technology today, but this is a district that has very high expectations for kids and teachers, and a really, really powerful culture, a collaborative culture. We have the middle school principal, Carrie Tolbert, and she is joined by Simone Graham, a biology teacher, and 2 students. Do you guys want to come up now or later?
We're going to switch off a little bit.
Okay, we'll let you kick it off, Carrie.
All right, thank you very much. It's our honor to be here with you today from Mooresville Graded School District. We're going to take turns and just share different stories and perspectives about our experience with our digital conversion. So we'll talk a little bit about what all that entails. Just so you know a little bit of background on each of us, my name is Carrie Tolbert, and I'm the principal at Mooresville Middle School. I'm in my 4th year as being principal there. We are in our 5th year of the digital conversion, so I was there as an assistant principal 2 years before that. So I've had the pleasure of being a part of the entire journey with our digital conversion. Before that, I served as a teacher and a central office administrator in a different school district, but ironically, I'm also a graduate of Mooresville High School, which is just kind of a funny twist to the story, but I'm honored to be back in the community that so served me well, so it's just fun to be a different role. A little bit about Mooresville. Tom has already talked just a little bit about us, but just so you have some perspective, we are 30 miles north of Charlotte, North Carolina, which most people have heard due to the Carolina Panthers. And we have about 5,800 students in our school district. Comparatively in North Carolina, we are a smaller school district, but nationally, we are not a smaller school district. We are actually the size of 70% of the school district nationally, or actually a little bit smaller. In regards to our makeup for our school district, we are 73% white and 27% minority students, and 40% of our students are on the free and reduced lunch program. So hopefully that gives you a little bit better perspective of where we stand. Why a digital conversion? Our superintendent, Dr. Mark Edwards, kind of coined this phrase when he developed this project for our school district, and our Board of Education kind of charged him with more adequately preparing our students to be 21st century learners. So why do we choose to do this? There's a lot of reasons, obviously, but we really wanted to ensure that our students' experience in school matched their experience in the real world. And that was our mission, to ensure that every child, every day, actually had an experience that matched what we were preparing them for. Whereas many of you know, traditionally that doesn't happen in many of our schools. Kind of locks down the door to the real world and puts them in a traditional classroom. So we were destined to ensure that that didn't happen with our students. And we wanted to ensure that relevant instruction also occurred with all of that. We wanted to close that digital divide for our students and ensure that they were ready for the 21st century. Our instructional practice changed drastically, and Ms. Graham will talk a little bit about that from the teacher perspective. And our goal was not just to have fun and games and higher engagement, but to really strategically improve academic achievement. And most importantly, at least to me, why we decided to embark on a digital conversion is it's a moral imperative. It is honestly just the right thing to do for our kids. I come to my school every day knowing that the environment we provide is the right environment for our students. And we could be doing even more things even better. We're definitely not perfect in it, but I know that we are preparing them for the 21st century, and I'm confident in that when I walk into every classroom. I morally know we're doing the right thing for them, and that's what's driven what we do every single day. So a little bit of logistics about this. Again, we've coined it our digital conversion. There are a lot of names that you could use for it, but we also want to be very clear that this is not a technology project. It is an instructional paradigm shift. If it were a technology project, it would be this separate entity that is fun, and kids go online to play games, and they might do a little bit of interactive collaboration or something, that's not a kind of into the fabric of everything that we do. And it is in the fabric of everything that we do. It's been a complete cultural shift in Mooresville Graded School District. Literally, when we gave out the laptops to teachers first, every teacher in Mooresville became a first-year teacher again, because they weren't sure how to teach when every child had a laptop instead of a textbook or a notebook. They were kind of thrown out of their comfort zone a little bit. So we had to do a lot of professional development in order to change that culture and ensure that we were very consistent in our message about why we were doing this. But some of the logistics that were involved was that this did involve 500 teacher laptops, 4,000 MacBooks for all 4th through 12th graders, 400 MacBooks that are on carts for every third grade student, so we're starting to expose them a little bit earlier. 120 interactive whiteboards in every classroom, grades K through 3. My son is a kindergartner, and he gets to interact with his smartboard every day, which he loves to tell me about. It's rather funny. And there is online content available virtually 24/7 for our students, and we do have ubiquitous wireless throughout every school in our school district. So those are the logistics and the nuts and bolts of what our digital conversion is. So the ingredients to our digital conversion, as I mentioned before, we really had to purposefully build our culture and explain to our community, to our parents, to our teachers, and to our students why we chose to do this. Because when you're sinking in the amount of resources and money and funding, you have to ensure that everyone is on board with you. So we took a lot of time before we actually put laptops in the hands of every child to explain what we were doing and why. And again, that moral imperative came back into it. That's always what we came back to, is that every child, every day in Mooresville Graded School District will have that equilibrium of resources. Doesn't matter whether you're in an AP class or you're in a resource exceptional children's class, and every state calls it something different. But we wanted to ensure that every child had the same resources so that they could learn even better. So that goes back to the 21st century, the tools. We also wanted to ensure that everything we do is data-driven. The technology makes that much more efficient and easier, yes, but we don't want to, again, just make these haphazard decisions about instruction. We're very focused and specific in those decisions that we make. It's also about building more leadership. We have never brought anybody from the outside to our school district to train our teachers, to help our students, to train our administrators. We've been very purposeful, a lot of it has been for funding actually, but very purposeful in developing leaders within our school district to enhance what other teachers are doing as well as administrators. And as Tom mentioned before, he had the pleasure of coming to Mooresville to participate in our Summer Connection, which is when we actually provide a conference for others embarking on a one-to-one experience. And we wish we had had that opportunity, but we didn't. So we want to share and be able to serve others in that same capacity of trying to help continuously build that leadership, because we do feel that leadership has been a great key. Leadership in the classroom with our students and better leadership with our teachers and our current administrators that we have. So what does all this mean? Again, I'd say this is really cool and fun, and kids love the laptops, and they get excited about iTunes and things that they have better access to. But what does it all really mean for our students? In the last 5 years, our graduation rate has soared. We are now number 3 in the state of North Carolina with our graduation rate, which we're very proud of. Also, in regards to our AMO targets, we've met all 57 of our targets, and again, number 2 in the state in order to be able to do that. Our district achievement in the last 5 years has drastically grown, which again, we're very proud of. From 73% proficient in 2007, 2008, and now at 89% most recently. So we know that it's not just fun and games. This is actually impacting the learning of every child in our school district. Also in our state, out of 115 school districts in the state of North Carolina, we have ranked or tied number 2 in our student achievement. So we're still shooting for that number 1. 90% is still our goal, but we are ranked at number 2, which again, traditionally in Mooresville, we've been kind of average, pretty complacent before we actually embarked on this initiative, which is really important to note that out of 115 school districts, we actually rank 100 in how much we spend per child. So we're not putting all this extra money into our kids. If we had it, we would. But we don't have it, which is where most school districts are nationally right now. It's not like you have tons of extra money just hiding away to spend on laptops. We've been very creative on the money that we have and how we've used it. And we still rank 100 out of 115 in how we spend our money on kids. But yet we're tied for number 2 in the state in regards to student achievement and student performance. So how much does this all cost? Per child, it's about the price of a soda, $1.25. And it actually includes the machine and software on the machine. We have mentioned that our kids all do have MacBook Airs now. We've changed our laptops a couple times due to our lease, but this is a lease. And this is not just a one-time thing. It was not achieved through a grant or a random surplus of money that was given to our school district. It was used at first through textbook money, and then we were able to keep this as a consistent item of our budget to ensure that we're always focusing on an instructional initiative, not just a technology outsider project. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it to the most interesting stories that we have. As Tom mentioned before, we do have a student and two teachers with us, or excuse me, one teacher and two students with us today. Our students are a senior and an 8th grader in Mooresville Graded School District, and then our teacher is Ms. Simone Graham, who is a biology teacher at Mooresville High School. You're welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm a biology teacher at Mooresville Graded School District. I'm very honored to be a member of the school district there. I'm also a graduate, as Carrie is also, so they can tell you a lot about the school district. I'm here today to give you a perspective of the teacher in the classroom. I know that a lot of people talk about one-to-one classroom. You're like, okay, well, how do a teacher use that in the classroom? Some people have this perspective that is an easy job and it makes the teachers lazier. However, it's really not. You become more busy in making sure that the kids are on task at all times. So I'm in here to tell you that. I graduated from Winston-Salem State University, and I can say when I graduated from school, they trained me to go into a traditional classroom. And let me tell you about a traditional classroom. When we talk about a traditional classroom, I'm talking about me standing in front of the whiteboard, writing down all the notes, and kids writing on the piece of paper, taking notes. That's what we're all used to, right? Well, in this traditional classroom, when we talk about this, it's nothing traditional about facilitating a one-to-one. In facilitating one-to-one, I can show you a project that my kids are doing in class. I center my projects around student-centered projects where the kids actually go in and they build projects through this technology piece. You want to drive curriculum, but in the curriculum, you want to make it enjoyable and fun for kids to learn. When you put the laptops in front of the student, if I say, get research brainstems, they're actually going in and they're researching the topic there. As you can see in this digital portfolio, and every student in our school has a digital portfolio, you can see where my student went in and we actually do the labs in class. So they're doing the physical part in class. And what happens is I make them go home and they have to put together a digital portfolio, a presentation. In this presentation, you can see where she's listed her experimenters, the people in the class. She's now giving an abstract of what's going to happen in this lab. This lab is on a farm at Cletus where they're testing fertilizers. She gives an introduction, and then she's going through and she's listing the materials that she needed in class. All of this was done outside of my classroom because in class, we're actually doing the hands-on model. But outside of class, instead of spending a lot of class time on this, I have her go home and research. Before it's published, it has went through 5 points. I have to edit it, and she has 4 other peers that edit her presentation. We do not edit in class. It's all through a blog online, and we can go in and we can say, you need to change this, or you need to go back and fix that. Here's her data where she's getting it in class, formulating the data. Now, the interesting thing about this is now I collaborate with the math teachers because now they're going to take this data that they're getting and they're going to build graphs and charts from this data. So I've collaborated with the math teachers in using technology that they're going to have to use in college as well as in high school, but now they're better prepared when they leave. So now she's formulated all the data, and as you can see underneath the data, her and her group has actually explained each piece of that data so I can better get an understanding of it. As we go through, you have what we call a discussion. In this is a very important piece because what I do is I put up a blog online. And the groups, they go in and they blog on the research that they have done and the actual information they have gathered from the research. Each group goes in and blog and they actually compare, make a comparison. And in this, she's comparing her group to another group. And all of this is kids collaborating outside of my class, and they're putting it on a digital portfolio for every teacher to see, for me to go in and grade. And then at the end of their 12th grade year, they can download everything that they've ever put on this digital portfolio from each class and take it with them to college. So it's very visual. In the this right here, I communicate with the actual, collaborate with the English teachers in proofreading and editing the piece. I'm now going to take you into another page. It's called a cell page. And in here, they did a project on the cell structures. The standard course of study wants the students to know each cell component, each cell organelle, and their functions. As we go through, she's actually listed the cell component, which is the cell wall. She's gave the function of the cell wall, and then she gives the image of that cell wall. The piece that's lighting up in red, that is how she cites her sources. Digital citizenship is very important when you have a one-to-one because you don't want kids to forgerize any information. If I was to click on that source right now, it would take me to that page so I could make sure she didn't forge any of that information. She goes through and she lists all her pieces of the organelles, and she gives the function and the structure. This is great for the EOC because all these organelles are normally listed on the EOC and you have to know the function. As you go down through this piece, this here, I make them do something called an iMovie. An iMovie is a component that you have on your computer. And in this iMovie, she is going to go through and she's going to record herself and the actual 3D model that she had to build. I always have my kids do it hands-on information as well. So she's put together this movie on her own. And she's actually explaining the components of this cell. She's going in and zooming in, and that's a component as well in that structure. And she's explaining each organelle. So one, she had to use technology to enhance her knowledge of the information. She went in and she's using grammar because she's putting in the information on the functions, and she's making a video that she can keep forever there. How many times as a teacher a kid does a project and you put it up for 1 month and then it's time to move on to the next, and what do you do with the rest of them? You throw them in the trash, right? And you keep the best ones. Here, I can keep this forever because now it's on her digital portfolio. And anytime I want to show a kid what she did, I go in and type her name and pull this up, and I can show any of my kids at any time. This student I had last semester, so I didn't even have her this semester. This is a student that I had last semester in that digital portfolio. As we go down, the next component of this project is something called a comic life. And a comic life, as you can see here, is a component on our laptops that the kids use. It's something like you would do when you make a hands-on poster, but this here, I'm making it more digital. Kids love it because now they get to take things in their house, and she's taking pictures of stuffed animals around her house, and she's making this into a comic life. What we do in class with this component, I say, well, give me a story that you want to make a conflict with these organelles, and by the end of the story, you have to resolve the conflict. You have to use everyday items at your house. So what she's going to do at home, she's going to go home and take pictures of everyday items with her laptop, and when she brings it back to school, her and her group plugs these everyday items in, and then they start to build a story around these everyday items. This is fitting in with the standard course of study because, of course, they have to know the organelles in order to make the story collaborate with the structure. Now, the next story I'm going to tell you is about a student, and he's going to make a video about his cell organelles.
Prokaryotes in there, and plant cells also. Cell walls are outside cell membranes, and they hold a stiff box shape there in prokaryotes.
As you can see, they had to build a 3D structure. Like I said, the hands-on component is still there. Hands-on component is still there when you're teaching technology. A lot of people think, well, if I'm teaching technology, then my kids no longer do hands-on materials. They still do. He built this structure. I let them go in, and there was this thing where you could build a video, any sort of video, and they made a rap video, and they start implementing structures and pictures. And then the substrips that you see, they put those on them on there themselves because they had to give me the function and the structure of that. And as you can see, the other two guys, they actually wrote the strip, but he wanted to actually do the rap, so he came up with the rap. And they have drawbacks and fade outs. All of that is a component on the actual screen that you're doing. And they have a good time doing it. We actually watch these videos in class, and we say, okay, what was okay about this, or how can we enhance this video? And then sometimes kids want to redo it, and sometimes we have contests. But this is taking the standard course of study, and it's making the kids want to learn this material. And as they're taking the EOC, my student said, Ms. Graham, I was thinking about that song as I was going because this gives you a component of the structure. Now, what does this all entail? And then how does teaching this technology, how has it changed my teaching? It has. I feel like it has enhanced me as a teacher because now I'm collaborating more with my colleagues. I'm collaborating more with the students. Let's be honest, students now know more about technology than we do, right? They have all the smartphones and things. You can take those things and you can build a rapport with your kids because when they found something cool online, you can say, well, bring it in and then we'll try to tweak it to fit the curriculum. And we find ways to fit your curriculum, and it makes students students want to learn. How many times have you had a student get online and email you and say, Miss Graham, what are you, I found this online. You need to check it out before class and maybe come to class and find out. My kids do that all the time. Like, Miss Graham, check out this website. It's really cool on biology. And they help me enhance my teaching. Because when I left Winston-Salem State University, I went into the classroom thinking that I was going into a traditional classroom. Mooresville has made me a better leader because now I not only can teach a traditional classroom, but not only do I not want to teach a traditional classroom, I am now a facilitator of learning. I facilitate knowledge and how the kids go enhance their knowledge by using this technology. We have something called formative assessment data, and what that happens in that, I teach biology. All the biology teachers in my department, we have the same formative assessment test. And when our kids go in and they take that formative assessment test, we can see on a measure of how each student is doing in our class, because you can see their ranking. You can see compared teachers. And a lot of people say, we don't want to be compared as teachers. Why not if it's going to enhance your teaching and your students' learning? We use this data to drive our technology usage, saying, okay, you did a digital portfolio on sales. My sales scores are really high, but the next person's sales scores are really low. What are you doing with your kids that I'm not doing so we can enhance? Vice versa. In ecology, my scores are mediocre in ecology. The next guy, my department head, he is phenomenal in ecology. And he has a great online tool that the kids go in and use. So now he's teaching me how to use that tool, and my scores have went up. It's a lot of collaboration, and you become one big family, because now you're trying to reach a goal with the data and the technology. And without this technology piece, we would never be able to look at individual teachers so quickly and the students and how they're progressing. I can tell you about the students. However, I'm going to let the students come up and explain to you what takes place as a student. Mark is going to give you the perspective of a middle school student, but I can tell you that one-to-one teaching has really enhanced my teaching and has made me a better leader.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Miller. I am 13 years old. I'm from Mooresville, North Carolina. I definitely like language arts, science, and history. I like playing baseball and football, and I started using my laptop in the 4th grade. At Mooresville Middle School, we have course subjects such as algebra, pre-algebra, science, language arts, and North Carolina history. We also have electives every day, such as physical education, exploring business technology, or foreign languages. My day starts entering the hallway of 8th graders with 400 students. Everyone different in their own way, but they each have one thing in common. Everyone wears the same book bag with a great big M on it. Instead of the book bag being filled with textbooks and notebooks, you just have the MacBook Air. My first class of the day is in science with Mr. Buddha. First, we start off by taking our attendance in Angel, which is a program on our laptops. As you've seen, science is a subject I like. I like to learn about the way the Earth is formed, and I also like to learn about Pangea. When I first heard about Pangea, I thought it was some type of foreign car. But then I got to look it up on my MacBook Air, and it turned out to be when all the continents were formed together as one big landmass. We also get to watch videos in Discovery Education, and that is a lot of help because it is easier to hear and watch an example of what we were learning than to read it out of a textbook. I then switched to language arts with Mrs. Smith. She is very creative when it comes to using our technology. In her class on our laptops, we discuss and reflect on different books we read, such as the book The Tears of a Tiger. This book is a lesson about not drinking and driving. We had researched a lot of records about drinking and driving over the past few years in North Carolina and all over the country. And we got some cool pictures online and put them on a poster that we hung outside in the hallway. And next I go to Mrs. Sarver's Spanish class. Here we use our laptops to research and learn various words and phrases in Spanish. For instance, the word nublado. I was hoping it was a Red Sox pitcher because, we need it this year. We struggled pretty bad. But it turns out it just means cloudy. Afterwards, I continue to exploring business technology, where we practice typing on a program called Typing Agent. We also sharpen our skills in keynote presentations. We recently worked on a project with different characteristics of businesses. Then lunch, my favorite. I'm like any other student who enjoys lunch because it is a time to take a break from schoolwork and relax with your friends and eat. I continue to North Carolina history. Recently, we have done a project on the early colonies of North Carolina. My teacher gave us many choices on ways we could complete this project. I chose a comic life, which Ms. Graham showed you. You can do a lot of things in this. I did a newspaper article about Thomas Carey and the Quakers, and we also presented that to the class. We also learned about a lot of things about our Tar Heel State. For instance, did anybody know that the Revolutionary War started the Tar Heel State? Well, I know my stuff because I looked it up on the MacBook Air. Winding down my day, I head to pre-algebra. I love interacting with my laptop in math because there are so many ways we can learn different strategies and practice our skills in my math lab and IXL, which are two great math programs online. Also in math class, we download video notes, which are just simply notes for a certain lesson we are learning in math. And I can also go back and study those notes before a test at the end of the week. We also have done a project with pumpkins. In this project, we had to weigh the pumpkin, but then we were to take the seeds out of the pumpkin and find the difference of the two and graph them on a spreadsheet as a scatter plot and a bar graph and compare our data with other groups. The Mooresville Graded School District is incredible. It's full of great teachers and administrators. I believe that the laptops we use keep me more interactive throughout the school day. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am now because I would still be in 2012. Thank you.
Troy Eccles. I'm a senior at Mooresville Senior High School. As you can see, I'm 17, and I'm really into politics and running. Those are my two things. At my school, I'm the captain of my track team. I'm actually student body president there, and I'm also the president of the Spanish club. I have many, many clubs, including Junior Civitans, Reach, and I was a chosen community tutor. I've actually been using my laptop since the 8th grade, but I wasn't able to take it home until the 9th. Since I've had the laptop, I can definitely say that it's impacted my learning for the better. We not only learn the same materials as the other schools, but we learn it faster in a new way and with style. I mean, how many people do you know that get a MacBook Air? Also, how many students do you know that can present a mind-blowing project and create a mind-blowing project without ever leaving their seat? I created this. I remember when I actually had to get up and go find a dictionary or a thesaurus to go find one of the answers to one of the questions that my teachers had asked. Class, does anybody know the meaning of constituent? Within 2 seconds, my hand is raised. Not because I knew the answer prior to the question, but because my computer did. I have every bit of assistance that I need right at my fingertips. It's helped me to excel in the classroom beyond measures, I cannot say. We have a class actually at our school where students learn to take apart and put back together, and they help other students fix their laptops. These will be the students that go to college and pursue this as a career, and they use what they've known since the 9th or 10th grade to make money. Also, applying to colleges is made so much easier thanks to 1-1. I can do things like send my transcripts electronically. This makes it go by so much quicker you would not even know. Also, I feel like I have a better chance of being admitted to colleges and universities because of these laptops. Not because I have one, but because of what they've done for my overall education and overall knowledge. I have more than your average student has to offer. And now that I think about it, no student at Mooresville is average. Now that I think there's no students, if you look at any of the schools around our school, we're nothing like them. Last year's class, senior class, they earned over $2 million worth of scholarship money. That broke our school's record by so much, it was crazy. We intend to do the same, me speaking for the class of 2013. Now that I've had my laptop for my entire 4 years of high school, I can most definitely see the point in getting them. Our administrators had this vision that seemed almost impossible to get a laptop into the hands of every student from the 4th to the 12th grade. I think about it and I'm still like, how do we do that? If they didn't have access to technology at home, now they do, and the school is there. We thank them for that. And lastly, I feel like it puts us ahead of everyone else. We're no longer in the year 2012. We're past it. We've left the 21st century because we're too busy lounging in the 22nd. Thank you.
All right, we have just a minute or two if you have any burning questions. Let me also say that if you want to know more about funding the shift to one-to-one, the Digital Learning Now team, working with the Getting Smart team, published a paper about 6 weeks ago called Funding the Shift. You can find it on digitallearningnow.com and then look for the Smart Series logo. In that paper, we featured Mooresville. We also featured Portugal, and we have Mario Franco, who helped engineer Portugal's shift to one-to-one with an innovative, subsidized, and parent pay laptop model. So you have great resources here in the room about one-to-one.